So, you want me to start? Okay. Yeah, I think before I said it's great to learn from your mistakes, which I definitely believe is true, but you don't always have to make them. And I think that's where the education has really kicked in. As I mentioned, like I'm an executive MBA candidate for ISADI right now. I'm in the hybrid program. It's one of the top 4 rankings for MBA schools for entrepreneurship, right? And that was what really attracted me to join this program, also because my wife is in the full-time MBA, but that's another story. But it's a really great program, and it's really helped me kind of avoid a lot of mistakes. Not only that I probably would have faced in the near future, but then also you get to learn about what other companies have done. When they face that same challenge, how did they solve it? Or what problems did they face? And then how did they mitigate those risks? So it gives you that kind of holistic view, that broader perspective that you can actually take and put into your own, you can apply into your own company. And as I mentioned, like we're doing our series funding right now, and then basically we're at a table where investors are trying to pick apart your business model, pick apart everything that you've done so they can get a better deal, right? So the ways that you could kind of mitigate that or be better prepared is through these educations and how you can use these classes like entrepreneurial mindset or strategic thinking and development, right? How can you structure your pitch and how can you structure your business model to already be, to already mitigate a lot of the risks that will be mentioned, right? So it really helped me, and it really helped Spouts really come up with a very clear business model that most importantly is sustainable for 5, 10, 15 years down the line. So I think these classes really helped me avoid some of the mistakes that could have come in the near future.
I wanted to hear Daniel, but I'm one of the professors now I have to leave. Yeah. Thank you so much, and sorry about it.
Thanks, Julio.
Thanks, Julio.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I was noting down the mistakes first because I had not thought about that. So I wanted to keep them written. So for the impact that the Academy or ALE had on me as my entrepreneurial journey, the first thing was I kept hearing, do hard things, every day, do hard things. And it was really hard to think about opening a business when you don't really have as much experience to start a business. And at the same time, you're in school, and it's a very tough school, because I'm not lying. It's tough on us. So you had a lot of assignments to do, and then you're also putting on a responsibility to start a business, and it's hard. But again, the school, the culture was do hard things. And if you're scared, do them scared. Or if you're doubting, do them when you're doubting. It's okay. The biggest part is you can do them. They're hard, but you can do them. And that was one of the things that really made us, because I actually started the business with 2 other students who still also went to the African University. So we started it together. So we're in the same culture, the same mindset, like you had mentioned, which was really important. The other thing was ALE had a culture of finding solutions for the challenges that you have. So even when we had challenges as students, as well, we think this assignment is really hard. I remember there are times where we thought we were assigned things for like graduate level, and we're like, we don't think this is on our level, and we would openly tell that to our facilitators and say, we think this is really hard for us, and they would say, no, try again and find a solution. Or even if we would go to them and give them an actual challenge and they would acknowledge that it's a challenge, they'll still tell us to suggest our own solution. We would go thinking that they're going to suggest solutions for us because we're students and they're supposed to facilitate things and make it easier for us. But they'll still come back and say, you found a challenge, propose a solution, we'll advise if that solution works or not, but think about the solution as well. And that influenced starting the business, because there are problems that you could see, there's an impact you wanted to make. We looked at brands here and we thought, okay, we have really nice brands in Rwanda, but we think there are gaps. We want to make a brand that's a bit more affordable, that's not crazy expensive, but still luxury, affordable luxury. And then, the environment is, you see a challenge, find a solution. Maybe it's not a perfect solution, but find it and implement it. And so I think that was the biggest impact that ALE had in terms of the encouragement and how it impacted the entrepreneurial journey. But as well, we also had programs that taught us about how to be entrepreneurs and how to start early and just to have prototypes and all of these different stages, not to just have an idea, to make sure that you can implement it the right way, and also speak to investors, speak to the customers, and just test and see if something is going to work out. Now, for the mistakes or the things that I think the educators can change to help is, the first thing for me would be to be able to track the students and their businesses. So what I mean here is, if you're a school like ESADE or AOU, have I don't know if I could say one person or a team or a committee that is strictly following through students and their impacts. Because when we start businesses like we did at school, we didn't necessarily go to mention it at school. We just started it. And there's a lot of guidance that we could have had from school if we could have probably partnered, or maybe if we had gone to the facilities and told them we want to start a business and all of that. So I think if schools can have a way to track, to be able to say, okay, in this year we have this amount of students, and just like they know that, you know, our students have started maybe these programs, if a student starts a business, have a way to know that, have a way to track that. Because when you do, you can approach them yourselves. So like the problem that Julia mentioned of, you know, people who start their businesses and they just want to do things their own way, it's really true. It happens because sometimes you don't like how the system is and you just want to try your own things. And it's going to backfire in the future because you're going to find already existing laws that you have to go by. But if the school can track and say, okay, we have this amount of students, and you know they're tracking what the students are doing, and they can easily track that, okay, these students have started a business, and then they can approach them instead of waiting for the students to approach in terms of wanting guidance. Then they can start saying, you started a business, we want to support it, these are the different things we think you should do, maybe, you know, just advice, because these people are your ambassadors. These people are going to go and say, I'm a student from AOU and I've started a business. So they're representing you at the end of the day, or a student from the side or whatever educator. So the educators should be able to track what the students are doing and be able to provide their guidance from themselves proactively. If the students take the advice, I think it would be really great for the schools. The second thing would be to be able to follow through even afterwards. So even after, maybe if a student starts something after the school, if there's something you can find out, then I think the guidance from the school could be supportive. So if ESADE finds out that maybe a student has started a business or something afterwards through the guidance, they can make sure they have programs that support those students with what they're doing, specifically for students who have been part of that education, so that they can always feel like they're supported, and when they're stuck in their journeys, they can come back to their institutions for that guidance in terms of